Jesus would be really bad at pledging allegiance. In fact, he never did. But patriotism isn't about pledging allegiance to political leaders. Oh, and that passage in Romans 13 is not about just falling in line and supporting whoever is in office because God put them there. Hi, I'm Jeremy. I'm a deep skeptic, also a pastor. Look, July the 4th is complicated for me. I love fireworks. I love a good parade when it's not as hot as it is today. And I actually recognize that there are some freedoms I have, like being able to post this video, that are a direct result of living in the United States of America. And like, I get it. Like, we still have mostly the freedom of the press. We still have the freedom of speech and a lot of things in the Bill of Rights, but they're eroding. And for me, the fact that we still have the bare minimum is not necessarily something that you just automatically celebrate. But I'm a pastor, let me stay in my lane. Especially when there are conservative leaders in power, the evangelicals will trot out Romans chapter 13 and say that God put them there, and that because God put them there, we should do what they are. We should fall in line with whatever they say. But that's really not what's going on in Romans chapter 13. So at the very basic, fundamental level, you have to realize that Romans is actually written to a very, very tiny community that is being persecuted by an incredibly powerful empire. So some of what Paul talks about in there is that Paul is talking about like survival techniques, like how do we make it through when we are being persecuted by a government in power, like a huge empire. And in the previous chapter, it's talking about love what is evil, hate what is good, bless those who persecute you. It is this idea of non-violent resistance, which is way more peaceful than Jesus was sometimes. Like, you'll remember that when Jesus confronted the systemic oppression that was happening in the temple itself, he turned over tables, he got a whip, and he drove people out of the temple with a whip. Patriotism is not about supporting the current political regime. It's about supporting the ideals, the deepest and highest ideals that you feel like needs to be espoused by your country, is really what your country should be about, and holding your political leaders accountable for making that the reality. So look, maybe today, if you are in the United States of America, if you are an American, you are really grateful and thankful for the freedom that your country has provided for you. Thankful that you haven't been carted away from your job and put in a camp, a detention camp in the middle of the summer that doesn't have air conditioning. Maybe you are really thankful that you live in a country where you haven't been shipped off to a foreign country, to their prison system where you are brutalized. I understand you being thankful for that, but just realize that's happening. And being a patriot, being patriotic, means not being okay with that and standing up against it. And that's just one example. There's a whole lot right now.